Happy first day of summer, friends! It is officially the first day of summer, although teachers around these parts have been off since about the end of May. But I am super excited to be hanging out here today. I've been doing a rain dance all morning, trying to keep that rain away so that we could actually have a chat today and talk about how prepping for back to school doesn't have to be stressful. You can actually do it while you're lounging by the pool. So I've got, of course, the pool behind me. I've got, a drink of water in my hand here, and I am just ready to kind of relax, enjoy the sunshine while I still have it, and also get ready for school with only a few touches of my finger. So let's talk about that for a second. Although I feel, from the bottom of my heart, summertime is a time for teachers to relax and rejuvenate. There are some things that I know for myself as a teacher that I need to do to feel better when it comes to back to school time. And that is to be able to prepare a little bit. And I'm not saying you need to spend your whole entire summer preparing for the next school year, because then you won't feel rejuvenated and refreshed. But I am saying that I know I feel better when I have even just a little bit of things prepped for the upcoming school year. So today we're going to be talking about some of the things that I like to do over the summer that really literally require nothing more than a touch of a finger on a keystroke and things that you can do wearing a bathing suit like I am. So I see we have some people joining us today. I want to know, before we actually get started into some of those tips I wanted to share, how long have you been on summer break, and are you going on vacation? I know I'm not, unfortunately, going on vacation, but I'm hoping other people are. So please tell me who is going to be going on vacation and relaxing this summer, unlike me. I don't know if my comments are not working or if people are just like not commenting, and that could totally be it, and that's fine. But if you want to share where you're going, what you're doing, go ahead and comment down below me. Just type it in, hopefully I'll see it. I'm trying to also double task here, so we'll see how that goes. Anyway, so let's talk about getting ready for back to school in our bathing suits, okay? You're looking at me like, Lee, you're crazy. Who gets ready to get back to school? Oh, hey, Deborah. You're going to Orlando? You're coming to my hometown. That's where I'm just outside of Orlando. I hope you're going to the, I hope you're going to go to some of the theme parks, Disney, Universal. They're not just for families. I promise you, as an adult, you'll love those too. Anyway, so I know that as a teacher, I always feel better when, you're going to staycation with your kids. Angela, I love staycations. That's kind of what I'm doing right now with my son. And we're really enjoying it, especially since we had just moved into a new house that has a pool, which I'm chilling out by right now. He's at a little morning mom's day out thing so that I could actually be live and not have him jumping in the background, because he would totally be trying to show up and do somersaults for you guys. Anyway, okay, so what can you do to prep for back to school in your bathing suit? And what I'm going to talk about today is just kind of getting some of those forms ready for back to school. Now, of course, those first few weeks back, and actually that first week back, I know here in our area, we get a thing called pre-planning. I don't know if many of you have that. But for pre-planning, basically, it's about 4 days before the first day of school that teachers have to get ready for the upcoming school year. And so it sounds ideal. You're thinking, wow, 4 days where I can just spend it in my classroom and really focus on getting everything set up for my kids so that when they come here on the first day of school, everything's ready to go. And you're going to laugh, but most of those 4 days are actually spent in meetings. So usually that first day is a welcome back meeting. The second day are lots of team meetings and community, PLC meetings. Usually that third day is spent half morning meeting and then half a day in your classroom. And then that last day, that fourth day, is actually meet the teacher. So you have your kids coming usually in the morning, and if your classroom's not ready, guess what? Your kids are going to be coming into an empty classroom. So as a teacher, I know not to wait till that pre-planning time to actually get things done. And I like to do a little bit here and there over the summer to kind of prep myself. And one of those things is actually prepping my forms. So, one of the first events that we do for back to school is meet the teacher, and that's a day when People get to come in, or your students get to come in, meet their teacher, see their seat. You as the teacher get to meet all your cute kiddos for the year. You get to meet with their parents and kind of talk a little bit before actually the first day of school. And so, of course, that event kind of requires some planning. So I like to have some forms ready for that. And of course, I like to have my student information sheet out for parents to fill. I like to have my Let's Stay Connected sheet so that I can email parents. I love having a classroom scavenger hunt up on their desk for them so that they can go around and find certain things so that when they actually get to that first day of school, they're not wondering where everything is. I do have like a sign-in sheet I have for Meet the Teacher, which has a section for the child's name, the parent's name, how they're going home that first day of school, and then how they'll be going home the rest of the school year. And then, of course, a volunteer sign-up form. These are just a few of the forms I like to have out for Meet the Teacher. So over the summer, I like to go ahead and just make a master copy. Hey, Monet, I'm going to say, hi from North Carolina, hi from Florida. I like to print these out beforehand and have them ready so that that first week when I get back, I can just throw them in the copier, make a bunch of copies, and have it ready. I also like to do that for things that I know that are upcoming later in the school year, like a invitation sheet I do for open house that we do in September. I know my first week of school, I have my students talk about some goal setting that they'd like to do for that year. I print this out for that first week of school. And so after I print out, I'm literally just talking about one copy of each form that I know I'm going to need those first few weeks, whether it's for Meet the Teacher or for those next few weeks after school actually starts. I like to print those out, and then I put them into folders. And I feel like most teachers love folders, but I don't know. I've talked to a few people before, and they're always like, what, folders? I'm like, man, I live for organization. I love folders, and they keep me organized. So I print them into folders. And so, for example, I have a Meet the Teacher folder. I have a First Week of School folder. I have a student checklist folder, which actually has my student checklists in there for the year that I like to keep information on. And I like to just stash my extra copies in there. Oh, hey, Amy. You're moving from third to first, but you're freaking out. Amy, you're going to love first grade. Don't worry, girlfriend. First graders are so adorable. It's definitely an independence change from third grade to first grade, but I think you're going to find a relief in the non-testing situation that happens when you get to kind of jump back out of a testing grade. I think you're going to find that to be so refreshing, and their love for you is just going to oh, you're going from first to third. Oh, Amy! Yay! Okay, let's rewind that a little bit, Amy. You're going to love third grade. One of my favorite grades to teach now, of course, second grade has a special place in my heart, and I could go on and on and on about second grade. But third grade to me is actually just a great step up from second grade. Do not freak out about third grade. There is some testing pressure usually. I don't know what state you teach in, but here in Florida, third grade is kind of like the testing year where if you don't pass that test, you're not going to go to fourth grade. But there is a little bit of that pressure. Don't let that get to you, and just know you're going to love the independence those third graders have, and you're going to love the fact that you're going to be able to actually sit down and do guided reading groups or do your math groups, and you're not actually going to have to be yelling at kids as they do their groups. And I don't mean yelling, but you know what I mean. You're not going to have to be constantly correcting them the way that you do in first grade, because they understand school and they're more mature than first graders. Anyway, yeah, Dee, doesn't third grade rock? Monet says she's actually getting to loop with her class. I wish I had that opportunity to do that. Yeah, SOL, state testing, big pressure. Yes, do not let that pressure get to you, girl. I'm telling you, my students did very well on their state testing, and I swear, hands down, it's not, I love to think I'm an amazing teacher, but I promise it's not because I'm just an amazing teacher or I had the best kids. It's because I truly told them, hey, you're going to do great. The test is not everything. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know, and we're going to go with it. I tried to take that pressure off of them. which was hard. Anyway, so let's talk about those folders. So I like to print things out, have them stowed in these folders, and especially like I do parent conferences, and I love to print out master copies of parent conference sheets so that when I do go to open house time, I can have them. And then also, if I need to start setting up conferences, I can have them just on hand, make a couple copies, like my conference time sheet, and then actually send them home and have them ready, and they're all right there. So anyway, so of course, like I said, prepping for back to school doesn't need to be stressful. It could be super easy. Just a click of a button with your finger on the computer, print off those master copies, tuck them into labeled folders. You know, like I love to have these bursting tags on the desk for Meet the Teacher with some Starburst in there, so I always print that out and put it in my Meet the Teacher folder so it's ready to go. And then, because I like to stay organized, and when I'm not organized, I feel a little, I don't know what's the word, a little apprehensive. If I'm not organized about things, I feel a little nervous, and back to school time is not the time to be feeling those feelings. I like to take all those folders and make sure I don't lose them, and I put them in a tub that I have labeled for that month. And of course, here in Florida, we go back to school in August. I know other states might go back to school in September, New York, and other states might even go back in July. So whatever your back to school month is, I would label that a tub that month, like I did, and just start stowing stuff. And as you go through and find ideas on Pinterest, as you print out more forms, you know, instead of having to make this big, huge push to get everything ready for back to school that's 2 or 3 weeks before you go back, you can just kind of slowly and lazily, you know, as you lounge by the pool, you know, prep them up, get them ready, stow them in your folders, throw your folders in your tub, and boom, you're ready to go. Now, obviously, all these school forms and checklists that I showed you today are actually available in my best-selling product, School Forms and Checklists, which can be found on TPT. I meant to link it here, but I guess after I'm done, I'll have to go back and link it so you can grab those forms if you don't already have them. If you do have that pack, please go back and re-download it. I have completely revamped it for this upcoming school year, made it much more teacher-friendly. I've added almost double the amount of forms that were in there before, and then the forms that I did add, I actually made more editable versions of them and very teacher-friendly editable versions because they're in PDF form, and they're actually individual PDFs, so you can save them individually and edit them as you go without always having to like delete the form and reinsert and not be able to save that copy. So now it's so much more user friendly, so much better for you guys as teachers, and I'm so glad that I was able to create that for you. So anyway, we have just a few minutes here before I wrap up. I would love to answer any questions that you guys might have about back to school, anything you guys want to discuss. I'd love to know more about your summer vacations. Like, I'm living vicariously through you guys. I know someone had said that they were going to somewhere, something rock, and I'm so jealous of that because buying a new house means basically, you know, no moving because we're kind of trying to get the house in order and everything, but also, you know, you only have so much money. So buying our new house meant, you know, no vacations this summer. So I want to live vicariously through you guys. So if you have any questions about back to school, any questions about some of the forms that I like to print up, let me show you some of those, by the way. I've got those. I love to do the student checklists, which I actually use all throughout the year. This student checklist, you can put the student name, their ID codes, or whatever information, and then their birthday. And this is actually editable as well. And what I love is it's a whole file of student checklists. So once you type in the students' names, it actually self-populates into all the other student checklists. And then you can manipulate the columns yourself and decide, hey, my school doesn't do ID codes, but we do have whatever, lunch numbers, and I'm going to make this lunch numbers and birthdays. You know, and maybe that's what you do. Another checklist I like to use when I'm keeping track of assignments or homework or paperwork that students have to return, especially the beginning of the year paperwork, because there's always so much. And so here, once again, this would have been populated already with student names, and then up here I can just go in and type each of the documents that I'm looking for my students to return and kind of check off their names as we go. Oh, and by the way, I apologize that this is backwards. Facebook, it's a glitch in the system when you have it turned like towards you, it makes it backwards. And unfortunately, unless I turn this around and not be able to look at comments, I'm gonna, which I love being able to answer questions or comment on things that you guys are saying. So I'm gonna leave it this way so that I can actually see what you're saying. So I love those student checklists. Those are part of my back to school forms and checklist pack. And I always keep those in their own little separate folder labeled student checklists, because that is something I kind of use throughout the year. Some other forms I like to do, of course, I'm trying to find them and I'm so organized I can't even find them, is where is it? Come on, Lee. Don't be so organized you can't find your stuff. Obviously, I talked about the student goal sheet. Is the student information sheet. I love to send this home or have parents fill it out at Meet the Teacher and keep all this information. And actually on the back side of this form is a student survey about themselves. And so I love to have that information and keep it in my student files so that if there's ever an emergency, I need to get in touch with parents, or if I need to know a little bit more about a student, I can, because it's all right here and I have a copy of it. I know a lot of schools have information sheets that they keep up in the office with allergies and stuff like that, and this is a slight duplicate of that form, but a lot of times those are, way on the other side of the school up in the office. They're not here with me, so I like to keep that information here with me. Another form I like to have out for Meet the Teacher is Let's Stay Connected, which is a sign-up sheet for a family and their phone number or their email, depending on how you like to stay in touch. I did phone number because I love to use the app Remind, which formerly was Remind 101. And if they put in their phone number, I can sign them up, and they can get text message alerts from me, not from my own personal number, but through Remind, with information on when there's meetings coming up or special events at the school. But there is another one, and this is editable, so you can make it your own, but there's another one where you could have the family and then their email, and you can have a list of their email addresses, so you can set up an email list of your parents for that year if you like to do email connections. Of course, I had talked about the Check Out Our Classroom. Oh, yeah, Jessica, don't you love Remind? I do, too. It's a great app. The only time I didn't use Remind one year is when I did Class Dojo, and I found that Class Dojo was redundant of Remind, except for Class Dojo, of course, is also a classroom management system, so it also showed behavior. But like I said, I use Remind more. I like that piece better, but Dojo kind of does the same thing. But anyway, for Meet the Teacher, like I said earlier, I love to have the kids kind of go around and check out their classroom before they actually come that Monday. And so here you can see this is actually a classroom scavenger hunt that I have. And here is some lists of things I just have them find and do in the classroom, which is great because, number one, I know that they're getting familiar with their surroundings. But number two, this one right here, right today's date, tells me so much about where they are in their writing abilities, where they are in their understanding of dates and times for math, and it lets me know, like, where are they in their, Monet says she did a student info one through Google Forms last year. It was easier to do a digital one for when we were on field trips or anywhere outside the building, really. Oh, I love that idea. You know, I've done a few Google Forms before, and I like some of them I didn't care for. Sometimes parents were confused by them, sometimes parents embraced them, and I think it's just whatever you're comfortable with, your parents will be comfortable with. But Monet, that's a great idea. I would love to digitalize and put these into Google Forms for you guys, but I'm still kind of working that piece out. But if you own this pack, keep on the lookout because eventually there will be a digital classroom version that'll just get uploaded into that section. Anyway, but the classroom scavenger hunt is definitely one of my favorites. At the end, I love to give them a little sticker, keep it in a section. But this is also editable, so you can change the directions if you need to. You can add different things or change what you have them look for. You know, maybe you don't have a calendar in your classroom, or maybe you don't have bathrooms in your classroom. This prompts them to look for bathrooms, so you can change it and kind of make it your own. Student information. Oh, the other one I like to have out for Meet the Teacher is We Heart Volunteers, which is a great way to have parents kind of sign up to be part of your classroom. And what's great is, of course, there's a section for them to sign up. Then there's a section that tells me what days that they're available, what time, is it the morning, the afternoon, are they interested in volunteer for parties or field trips? And then there's another one if maybe they only want to help from home, which actually one year I had a mom who was a nurse and who was actually going through school to become a nurse practitioner, and she wanted to be able to help in the classroom more, but she obviously was a very busy woman raising 2 kids and going back to school and still being a nurse. So she would actually want me to send home stuff for her to do, and it was great because I was able to send home laminating that needed to be cut out, excuse me. I was able to send home little things for her to assemble, and you know, she really was such a great resource and helper to me. Even though she couldn't necessarily come in to help, she was able to help from home. So never discount those parents who want to help, guys. And this is a great way to kind of organize those parent volunteers at the beginning of the year right away and let parents know, hey, I'm interested in having you come into my classroom. Okay, well, that is it for me. I'm actually going to go put my little toesies in my pool and maybe even do a little jumpy jump because it is getting hot down here. I don't know if you can hear, but the crickets are already starting to chirp, which means they're calling for rain down here. So that's just my best tip for you on how to kind of prepare for back to school without necessarily having to be in your classroom or really focused on anything. You know, all you need is a computer and a couple clicks of your computer to print off. I will be linking in this post afterwards links to my school forms and checklists if you want to go ahead and grab those for yourself and start printing off a few things for next year, editing them up and making them your own. Also, if you want the labels that I had talked about for your bins, which I don't know, like, do teachers do bins? This is my favorite way to stay organized, but I figure I'll link that freebie there for you guys too. You can download that and get organized over the summer. If you don't do bins, I highly suggest bins. It will save you so much time. So anyway, thank you guys. Thanks, Dee. Thanks, Jessica. Thanks, Monet. Aaron, I saw you pop in, but you didn't comment. Thanks for coming, and I will talk to you guys later.